Peace, love, and light, everybody. It's your girl, E. Smith, and guess what? I'm back. I'm new and improved, and I'm back with a new video. To my returning subscribers, if you're seeing this right now, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. All right, you've been rocking with me all this time in my absence. Thank you guys so much for the love and the comments that you have been leaving. If you are new to the channel, welcome to Mellow Talk. This is a safe space I created for us to come together and discuss various viewpoints, opinions, and perspectives with no hate. We don't do hate and negativity over here, all right? Now, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time, because fact of the matter is you could be anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with me, and I'm digging that. And as always, everything that's discussed on this channel is publicly available information. It's my own research and my own opinions, all right? Now let's get into today's video. A South Carolina jury has found Rick Chow not guilty in the shooting death of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, this one left me with more questions than it did answers. Now, before anybody jumps in my comments going crazy, let me just say, I was not there. I was not in the courtroom. I am not a lawyer. I was not on the jury. The verdict is what it is. But I am someone who followed this case closely, and I walked away just wondering how a teenager suspicious of stealing a bottle of water ended up dead. So for me, the biggest question in this entire case is what happened in those first few moments that set everything else in motion. We're going to watch the footage together, because one thing I want to do is encourage you to look at the evidence yourself and form your own opinion. I am not here to persuade you. I don't want you to think like I think. I want you to look for yourself and take your emotions out, take your bias out, and tell me what stands out to you. And as you look at the footage, I want you to pay attention to the interactions. I want you to pay attention to what catches your eye. I want you to pay attention to the energy in the room before everything escalates, all right? And I want to know what stands out to you, and I'm going to tell you what stands out to me. Let's take a look.
Put down your backpack. Backpack needs to put on the ice cream chest. Yep.
All right, so real quick, let's talk about that clip. Now, the facts are Cyrus enters the store. We see that clearly. Once he does, Alice Chow tells him to put his backpack down. He says, huh? She points and she tells him again, your backpack needs to go on top of the ice cream chest. All right, we heard that verbatim in the video. Cyrus then takes off his backpack and puts it down on the ice cream chest. We saw that clearly. Now, observations from the clip. There does not appear to be an argument. There does not appear to be any bad energy. There does not appear to be any resistance. I just see him comply with her request and go to the back of the store and look for whatever it was that he was looking for. Now, my opinion, when I first heard about this case, I just knew for sure that he was going to pop off. It was going to be some, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was going to talk back. He was going to say something. It was going to be some kind of negative confrontation or some type of issue going on. And I didn't see that. But what I did see was Alice Chow and her son probably, or somebody, they were just working in the store. And you know, if you've ever worked in any type of retail business, they always tell you to greet the customers when they come in. Now, it seems like the door chime went off and they didn't know who was coming in. She just kind of said hello like everybody else, you know, do when you work in a retail setting and somebody walks in. You want to greet them. But she's also looking to see who's coming in the door. And when she sees, that's when she tells them, you know, put your backpack down. Which I get it. It's a lot of kids that go into these stores and they steal. They take their backpacks and they put stuff in them and they steal. I get it. She tells them put the backpack down. Nothing to say about that. You know what I'm saying? Cyrus had literally just walked in the door, and I feel like you know how it is when somebody says something to you and you hear them, but it don't register to you that they may be talking to you or whatever the case may be. Um, and so Cyrus looked at her and he kind of, huh, like, okay. She repeats herself. Okay, I'm gonna go put my backpack down. He took it off. He went to go put it down. He cooperated. I still don't see a problem. You know what I'm saying? So right now, no right or wrong to assign to anybody. But it does raise a question. If this interaction started so calm like that, what happened? When did he become a problem? Because at this point, I don't see nothing going on. Okay, so let's stop there real quick. Now let's talk about this clip. The facts are, as Cyrus moves to the back of the store, we see Alice Chow behind the counter pull a phone out of her back pocket. She pulls it out, and then she's changing positions a little bit behind the counter. Okay. Then we see a point where we see Andy Chow handling a device behind the counter. And then we see Alice Chow move towards the back of the store. All right, those are the facts. Now, observations that can be made watching this footage is that her movements correspond with Cyrus's movements. When he moves, she moves. All right, and it's at one point that we see her completely leave the front counter and go to the back towards where Cyrus is. That's the observations, right? Now, my opinion, straight up, is that he was being watched. Now, let's talk about what I saw. Me, my personal opinion, okay? Now, when he was walking to the back of the store, she looked like she had, like it was urgency when she took that phone out. She was trying to get to that phone and say something to somebody. Okay? Now, do I know that? No, I don't. But this is my opinion on what I saw. She had some urgency to her taking that phone out her pocket. Okay? So she takes the phone out. She's typing on it, doing whatever it is that she's doing. And then when she looks up, because Cyrus had like bent down at one point, and she looks up and realizes where he at. So she moves over this way and put the phone down, right? She see him, she kind of chill. Then Cyrus walks this way. Then she moves this way. You know what I'm saying? Then she don't even stay behind the counter. She leaves and walks to the back. Again, she is trying to appear busy, in my opinion. All right? She walks out of the frame, just still making sure she can keep eyes on him and what he's doing. She walks out of the frame. She come back into the frame. And now she's at the chip shelf, fluffing these chips and moving the bags as if they needed to be moved. There was nothing wrong with them chips, but let's keep it a bean. All of us, a lot of us, we know. We go to them beauty supplies and we go and we know how they get down. And I'm not trying to be weird, but I have experienced this personally myself. And I know a lot of y'all probably have too. We know that those people don't play about their merchandise in their stores, and they will watch you like a hawk. And if they're not watching you, they got surveillance somewhere watching you. So, like I said, she fluffing these chips around trying to act like she busy, but she's just trying to keep eyes on him. You know what I'm saying? So then Cyrus kind of walks back up to the front like he's gonna come down one of these other aisles. He's still just browsing, looking for stuff. You know what I'm saying? And she even moves closer at this point because when he walks back around, back there, back where he was, she's now almost a whole aisle closer to him now. She was a little bit further from him, but now she's much closer than she was when he first came in the store. You know what I'm saying? So then we see it go to Andy behind the counter, him handling a device, and I don't know what he was doing. I don't see anything, specific. I just see him handle a device. And then, at that point, I still don't see Cyrus as problematic. But what I do see him as is the center of attention. Now let's keep watching.
You have one in your pocket? You have one in your pocket? In your pocket? In your pocket, yeah. I don't have no water in my pocket. I don't got no water in my pocket, bro. I'll show you water. This is good water. No, it's a pizza. Amen. What do you need water? Go up. Good? Okay.
Alright, so let's stop here. Now, the facts are, we see Cyrus open the cooler. We see him take out 4 bottles of water. We see him put 4 bottles of water back. Alright, once he does that, he closes the cooler. He proceeds to move away from that area. Those are the facts. Now, observations that can be made from this part of the footage. As he's leaving the cooler, he is not leaving holding any of the waters that he took out. They all appear to go back into the cooler. Alice is much closer to him. He does have his hands in his pocket. He's walking back up to the front. Now, here's my opinion. According to the footage, a lot of people think that, he was intending to steal water. He was changing his mind. I saw some people saying that he was checking the temperature of them or whatever the case may be, okay? The truth is, I don't know that. I wasn't there and I'm not in his head, okay? But my opinion is that he knew he was being watched. Usually those glass cases, you can see through them. I think when he made other movements, I feel like he was making them just to see, is this lady really following me? Because at this point, Alice don't give a damn no more. She right behind him, posted up, hand on her hip, looking at him. Like, this man is stealing out my store. You know what I'm saying? He walks back up to the front. Actually back there was some kind of exchange done between them, but I couldn't tell what was being said, okay? But as he walks back up to the front, he is questioned by Andy behind the counter, asking him in his pocket, what do you have? Also, you see Alice following him up to the front. He turns around and looks at Alice. He's waving his hoodie pocket saying, I don't have any water. And I just feel personally, if he had water in there, you'd hear water moving around. You'd hear something. You would know that he had water in there. Okay, he didn't have any water. He did not have to stop and address them, but he did. I just feel like somebody who was stealing something would have tried their best to get out of there without talking to anybody. He calmly picked up his bag and walked out of the store at that point. There was no arguing. He still is not irate, even though he's being questioned about what is perceived, because everything that happens beyond this point is because of the perceived notion that he stole something, okay? Like I said, he gets his backpack, he calmly walks out of the store. It is then you see Andy Chow come from behind the counter running out the door. You see Rick Chow come from somewhere running out the door. You also see Alice Chow going out the door. And then a short time later, you see Cyrus start to run. And then you see Andy Chow and you see Rick Chow running out behind him. That is the facts. All right. Now, observations from the footage. Now, up until this point, Cyrus has not been running. He's not been in a hurry at all. Not coming there, not while he was inside, and definitely not while he was leaving. He did not start running until this interaction went from the inside to the outside of the store. Now, this is just me. Now, when I watch this part of the footage, this is where some of my biggest questions come into play. Because for one, why did this interaction, why did it move to the outside of the store? Why didn't it stay inside the store? He is gone now and is done with. Why is anybody chasing him at this point? Even big corporations that you go and work for, they teach you, do not go after somebody who has stolen something or who you may suspect of something. Now, true enough, this was their own business. They have their own rules. But I just cannot understand how, even if it was a bottle of water, let it go. It's done. But it was not done. And I don't understand why, because up until this point, we've seen a teenager come in that store and cooperate. Put his back down, his backpack down when he was asked. He, stopped and talked to them when they questioned him about having water. I mean, everything he was asked, he did. It was nothing that I don't understand that warranted the rest of this. You know what I mean? A life is gone senseless. You know what I mean? And then not only that, you leave everybody in the store. You're so concerned about stealing, yet you leave everybody in the store to run after this little boy. And I know one of the main things that everybody says is, why did he run? And for that, everybody can draw their own conclusions about that. But my thing is, this thing went from suspicion inside of the store. The boy is gone. But the interaction doesn't end. It's now full-blown pursuit. You guys are pursuing him. You know what I mean? So then somebody ends up dead. Now, it was said that he ran out of his shoes. He dropped his phones. He dropped 2 phones. One that was his, one that was his mom's. They also said that he did not have any money on him to purchase anything, which we know a lot of kids these days, they got Cash App, they got Apple Pay. Their parents are able to send them money so they can tap. There's a lot of different things and payment things that people can do now. Okay? That doesn't prove anything. That doesn't mean that he deserves to lose his life. And like I said, this whole situation, I cannot come to terms with it. This man walked. Witnesses testified that they saw nothing in this boy's hands. And I have to say this as well. It did come out in the wash that Cyrus had a gun. Okay? He had a gun. Not a gun that he pulled on anybody. And not a gun that anybody would have known he had if he was not pursued and it fell out his pocket. Okay? But the child said that he pointed this gun at him. Even though there are eyewitness testimonies that say they saw this boy running full speed, full to where he even fell and probably hurt himself. He was stumbling to get up and he was shot in the back. Okay, the person, I guess medical examiner, testified that he was shot in the back. How do you shoot somebody in the back that is a threat to you? How is somebody a threat to you that is running away from you? I don't understand that. I will never understand that. And that's what drives me about these types of cases. Right now, the Carmelo Anthony case is going on. Cyrus's case happened, or his trial happened just a little bit before Carmelo's started. So I think now that Carmelo's started and it's as big as it is, the attention has kind of gotten off Cyrus and moved on pretty quickly. But this was one that I just could not go without saying, like, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that this man should have walked? Like, if I'm just being real, like, I can be unbiased, but I can also give my opinion. And y'all heard my opinion. I just do not feel like you can claim self-defense on somebody that you chase. At the end of the day, Cyrus did have a gun, and now it makes sense. Maybe that's what he was hiding in his hoodie. Maybe that's why he didn't want to take his hands out of his pocket, because he realized, dang, I came in here with my gun. I can't let them see that. And maybe he's just trying to keep it concealed, which is why he won't take his hands out of his pocket. So I think it's pretty clear he had no intent on hurting anybody. But I also feel like even if he did, at some point, he should have had a right to defend himself. But again, like I told you guys, we are just here to discuss various viewpoints, opinions, and perspectives. No hate in the comments. We do not do negativity. Just let me know what you guys think. I like intellectual conversations, intellectual banter, okay, if you will. Let me know what you guys think about this case. And we're going to get into some more cases here pretty soon. Like I said, the Carmelo Anthony case is up right now. Stay tuned, man. Make sure, if you guys have not already, please like this video, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, so that way when I drop new content, you'll be the first to get it. And I'll see y'all back. Let's go.
2023 GS 407440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Find